Hello. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the lecture. At least in the beginning part, I have to be in another meeting. So I decided to record this lecture. It's my pleasure to come to Eng Research Lab. I'm Kari Tammi. I'm Vice Dean for Impact. I start as Dean for School of Engineering next summer. I have been at Aalto since 2015. I made kind of like a mid-career change from research professor at VTT to associate professor to Aalto University. I was quite a long time at VTT, 15 years. I did like vibration measurement, vibration control, electric motors, vehicle electrification, different energy efficiency analysis, lots of things, some simulation, some field measurements, lots of project management, lots of project planning, writing applications, etc. And I was quite sure that I won't come in academic career, but then at some point I thought that it would be nice to be a teacher at some point, and I applied a professor position in Aalto. Meanwhile, I was in VTT. I also did my postdoc career in postdoc period in North Carolina State University. I was there a little bit more than a year. Master's thesis worker, I was at CERN, and then decided to move back back in Finland after being researcher at CERN for some time. Nowadays, doctoral theses are expected to be finalized in 4 years. I did basically mine between 2001 2007, so 6 years. As a defense, I must say that I never done it as a primary job. I had several projects going on. I had to do the mandatory studies in evening time. So the studying and making doctoral thesis was quite different in that time. And also I was older when I graduated as a Doctor of Science. I was 32 in that time. So I wanted to speak basically about 3 things today. Importance of doctoral students for our university, a little bit my way in doctoral thesis supervision / instruction, and then what is impact or how to make impact. And the final part, I would like to have your contribution because I don't know it. So one can say that doctoral students produce vast majority of our research results, and that's very clear. So I a little bit interviewed my colleagues and asked how many publications you have with your doctoral students and how many publications you have without your doctoral students. So I think the number varied from 5 to 1 to 10 to 1, so that one can say that doctoral students really do like maybe 5 times more publications or even 10 times more publications than the rest of the faculty does without the doctoral students. Okay, the same relationship could be calculated for patents, innovation disclosures. It would be interesting to know what they are, how they have developed over the years. This is of course, like it's just one number, but to show that you doctoral students do really big portion of the work. Number also varies, like senior professors maybe publish less alone, and junior professors publish more alone or as the main author. But then if you are very well internationally networked, you might get more publications with your doctoral students. If you're not so well internationally networked, maybe less. So this is not the number of goodness, but it's just to say that you do great work. So how do I work with doctoral students? When I came to Aalto, I came to tenure track as an associate professor. I knew that I have basically 4 years roughly to supervise my doctoral students, and then I will have first review, and then my fixed term contract will be continued and converted to permanent if I'm successful. So I was thinking quite carefully what type of lab work, what type of projects, and what type of supervision I have to do. I had quite long experience on being a supervisor of a research team at VTT or being a research professor at VTT. So I basically know how to, or I think I knew how to motivate people and how to work with people. And then I made sort of like quite simple strategy for myself. I had one-to-one meetings with all the doctoral students. Currently I have 8 doctoral students, and it is somewhat laborious, but I'm still meeting them every second week or every third week privately. It's easy to agree the goals. It's easy to discuss about difficult things because there are no other people listening, and nobody loses his or her face if something is going wrong. And I'm trying to say that we are there together to solve the problems. So I keep quite frequent contact. I have been to a few American universities in addition to North Carolina University. I think they often have these type of joint supervisory meetings where one is presenting and the other ones are attacking or kind of like criticizing or nudging the person, and they kind of like strive for better and better presentation. I frankly saying don't think this fits in our culture, or at least it doesn't fit in my way of working. I prefer private meetings and kind of like let's say more controlled way to talk also about difficult things. Then I have been always trying to hire a pair of doctoral students. This is not possible if you don't have project funding, but let's say if you allow some time window that the one would start now and the other one a bit later, then you can form a pairs. And pretty much by all means of leadership, I tried to ensure that student pairs work together and share ideas. There is actually a challenge for you, doctoral students, that you really allow someone to come to your area and talk and discuss, and you are not afraid of competition. So this by all means of leadership, I really want to say that it's not always easy because I understand it. Doctoral students think that their area is somehow unique and someone else will compete or maybe do their work. But I haven't really faced. I have only like positive experiences about this. Usually it goes so that the one who has started later will catch the first one, and they finalize their work pretty much together, and they write joint publications, extra publications in addition to those 3 mandatory first author publications, and the publications start to become better and better because they can build on their each other's results. So this is sometimes challenge for fresh starting doctoral students to have a trust that you can really share your ideas with someone. Having many doctoral students, like I mentioned, like 8, we also have like a competence or problem-oriented task forces. my strategy is to form the task force but stay out, because I feel that the ones who know the problem at hand and have solved it are better teachers of their peers. But and very often we have a freshly defended postdoc there, sort of like moderating discussion and collecting the task force together. Then you share ideas. How do you fill up midterm review documents? How to get some simulation model working? Or maybe how to write a scientific contribution in your work, or compilation part of your thesis. One thing which is not visible here, I have kept in my priorities such that if there is a publication or manuscript draft coming that goes sort of like on the first on my list, so that we can submit the manuscript as quickly as possible. And then maybe other items on my task list go down a bit. So now if you think like doctoral study related stuff, manuscripts are usually the most difficult ones, because review takes time and you might need to change a paper, or you might need to reform the whole manuscript according to feedback you get. So I feel that they have the highest priority. Lower priority might be something like let's say study credits related or so. But this also I would remind to you that take the manuscript and journal submission as seriously as possible, because that is the thing which is hindering your graduation. You will find study credits or you will find other related issues quite easy, but the publication is the most difficult. Then I think Maja really asked me to speak about impactful research, so I dedicate this rest to impact, and this is more philosophical now, because like I said, I don't know what this really is. There are many explanations for impact. You can have many measures for impact. You can have many stories for impact. And I think finally the biggest impact are the students graduating from us, and the way they think their university when they are alumni. But just my own example. So if I try to think what my articles and think what would be the sort of like scientifically best or idea-wise best, I have a couple of candidates, but the one I think is really my best article. It has had 7 citations. It's quite theoretical, and I kind of understand why it doesn't have more citations. So nobody cares, even I think it's my best article. My highest cited article has more than 5,000 citations, and it's from my CERN times. And you know, this CMS experiment, they won Nobel Prize, and this article reports the CMS experiment. So it has got quite many citations. And when we are, let's say, interviewing a candidate for, say, professor position, and we ask maybe the candidate how or what is his biggest thing, I would say that 70% roughly about the answers are that this article or amount of citations or age index or something like this, what we scientists like to speak. But then if you look back on your life, is 7 citations a lot? Is 5,000 citations a lot? Or are there maybe other things? So long time ago when I was VTT, we were developing a solution, and then we got the direct company order for we did first theoretical work in a research project, and then we got the direct order from a company. And we calculated few different scenarios on energy saving in ship powertrain. And then after a few months, the company told us that, hey, we got this solution sold in 14 container ships. And the technology, I think it cost a little bit more than $1 million per vessel. So if that one trade was like order of 16 million in that time, does it have some impact? Maybe it has. And the conference paper where we are actually reporting the results, it's not even visible in Scopus. So I think this is something I'm really genuinely proud of. And then the same technology was sold like I don't know how many ships, but quite many I would claim, because it's still very valid technology. Okay, a couple years ago we had a European project, and it was about trash detection in public transport and shared vehicles. So we had machine vision, and it detected whether you had forgotten your wallet or mobile phone or pizza box or trash or litter in a vehicle, and then it made a report that this should be cleaned or returned to the owner. And we did a pilot on Hamburg trams, and it was running there, and people were wondering. There were plagues that in German that this system automatically recognizes the trash. That has also quite a lot of impact. Okay, on this we also did like quite highly cited articles, so that there is a good connection to also to citations and doctoral theses. But just to say, impact is not that straightforward. Or if I can think my career, maybe it's some detail, piece of design what I have done at CERN and later reported in CMS experiment, and then CMS winning the Nobel Prize. Maybe that's an impact, but it's not very visible in the way that I did it, but I still can be proud of it. Yeah, I leave you an open question to think about your career. What is your impact, or what is your difference you are making or you want to make? I was listening Aalto University Foundation board, and Ilkka Kivimäki there said that getting your research published in Nature is 50%, and having a technology used by billion individuals is another 50%. So that only the usage makes difference, or so. So this is very demanding target, and we are probably never getting to it. At least I'm very suspicious whether I ever get it. But I think it shows very well the attitude that you are not done when your journal article is accepted. You are only done when your solution is in use. I would not require billion individuals, but it's in sensible use. And this is the mindset we at School of Engineering, we are in pretty good condition with this mindset. But I think always you can improve. That when your next journal is accepted, my recommendation is that be happy, open a bottle of champagne or whatever. We have a lemonade and biscuits with our teammates when someone gets a publication. Practical reason is that we have so many doctoral students working that we would be alcoholics if we would have a champagne always when we have a publication done. But when you get it, celebrate it, and don't think it's only 50%. Think that you have done a good job. But then, after you have had your biscuit or champagne or lemonade or whatever, think what you can do now to solicitate, make your result visible, and make your result useful by as many as possible. We are working in university, salary comes from taxpayers, so I think we are also like obliged to do this, so maximize the benefit of taxpayers' money. And then I think also that it will help you in your future career. But I would like to say that Eng is in really good respect in this respect. So we have excellent research quality, relations to companies and stakeholders, so we really can enforce our results to be used. Okay, one thing, of course, you can always discuss, and I don't have a good answer to these, but I want to bring these up. So we academics, we are evaluated in a little bit bizarre way sometimes. And I wanted to title this Academia versus Life, because somehow I feel that life is different from how academia behaves. So we like to calculate number of citations, age index, number of publications. Well, we can generate a lot of numbers, like I started this with numbers. So, but then we have to think about life, or think about the person who is possibly recruiting you next. So then, if you think the narrative, person knows a thing versus the person has good numbers, high age index. Person has done a thing versus he or she has a high number of publications or citations. Person is capable of doing something versus numbers. Person has been exposed to XX. So person has been exposed to foreign cultures, different simulation tools, difficult thesis supervisors, hard journal reviewers, non-working technology versus numbers. I think pretty much all the recruiters, they prefer the first option over the numbers. And this kind of like makes an idea that when you are speaking about impact, you have to have somehow like, narrative, also like your personal impact. So you have to build in your portfolio that you know these things, you have done these things, you are capable of doing these things, you have been exposed to these things. And little bit I would say that it's a pity that it's very hard actually to say about things you have failed, but in many cases they maybe have learned you the most. And also like in making an impact, you most likely you fail in some things, but then you are stronger when you get up. No, okay, here are some ideas about impactful research, but actually I cannot wait to hear your feedback. So I would like you to do the pair work and share your ideas. There are 3 questions, and I let Maya to decide the time usage, and I am actually striving to get to meet you at this point where you are sharing your pair work results. But let's see how it goes if I'm able to make it. But I would form pairs and use, let's say, 5 minutes for what is impact, 5 minutes how to boost impact, and 5 minutes what improves your success in work life. And then you can also, like at this stage, you can reflect back whether this impact boosting or impact definition have any connection to your success in work life. At this point, I would like to thank you for listening, and I'm sorry I couldn't present this in person, but I hope I'm listening your results. Bye.